Are your days filled with work and the need to prep for work? Do you come home just to sleep before the alarm goes off and your zombie self clocks into work making someone else money? Here are 5 steps to stop wasting nights after work. Step 1. Tell yourself you will power through the night even when you're tired, so that it facilitates burnout and you crash soon. Step 2. Decide not to have fun even though you will feel miserable in doing so. Scrap this. Don't listen to this unthoughtful, generic, differently worded same stuff on the internet when what you actually need is slow change, balance, and keep watching. You're of the belief that the work you did throughout the day should already be fulfilling and that it's got a safety cushion for you. That's why you don't want to take any additional pain to work towards anything else. That safety works as a barrier to get to active work. That's the mindset hurdle number one. Addressing that, you don't have the self discipline until some looming tragic event is going on in sight in your life. You won't make effort unless there's that fright involved. That is bad. But once you catch your mind behaving like that, you know that it's playing games. So kicking it out of playing games is easier. But that's not enough. Reaffirming yourself of the consequences of what can happen if you don't work versus what can happen if you do, that delta motivates you. Words of inspiration don't. Seeing different and improved lifestyles motivates you because it makes you see that you can have that too. But motivation is the last thing in your arsenal you should rely on. Because after a tough day of work, your body wants to either sleep, drink, or party. All of which is okay and will still have a place even when you decide you want to work on nights consistently, but you gotta place them thoughtfully. Let's take your time and divide it into certain hours after work. Sleep and fun has to go in there somewhere, just as much as work. And it's gotta be a more gradually relaxing process, because think about it. You get off of intense work hours, you calm your mind down, and you gotta get back to thinking about working on something else again and then calm down and rest again before going to work tomorrow? That's a lot of pressure. But maybe you're someone who can get a few naps in between and that helps you focus a lot more better. Or maybe, like how I am, you like continuing that flow of hard work and get some important tasks out of the way as fast as you can as you're in that flow, and then slowly get to the more smaller and simpler tasks and then finish your work. Then have some fun, get yourself rewarded with something, and then sleep. A gradual ending to the day. Now, I refer to it as working when you might think that if you're building something out of passion, it should always be fun, right? Yes, but also no. As you're building something, there will always be nitty gritty things at the end of the day. So I'm hoping for the worst here, even though it might be much more fun to work on the things that you're passionate about sometimes, even if it's after work. Now, what this looks like is heavily personalized to you. And no cookie cutter solution is gonna fit you like you push yourself to work until you burn out or just do more like they say. The goal is to know yourself and what your mind and body likes doing and what makes it truly tired. Once you can spot on and accurately reflect on your energy levels and how you're feeling after certain periods after work, you will know much better how you function and what it takes to make you function better. Maybe there are certain rewards you that would really motivate you to keep on working after work. You have to know those stimulants. Maybe scheduling your own tasks and checking them off really creates a sense of accomplishment in you. Maybe keeping yourself accountable to someone else gives you a sense of strain that you can't let them down. All of these are wonderful techniques, and you will have to resort to something like this. But what you will notice is that all of these have some form of chase, discomfort, or something that doesn't exactly feel nice. And that's a bit of the harsh truth I want to point out. No matter how much we try to game the system, some days are simply not meant for us. Now, you're probably thinking those some days are where we gotta keep on going for it to have consistency, because those are the truly testing days, right? Sure, but there's something even more important. Those tough days are the ones more capable of breaking you. And you have to not let that happen. Don't push yourself so much against the current because, again, it's going to facilitate in burnout and you will absolutely crash. For the sake of consistency, maybe work lesser on those nights and really grow on building stuff on nights where you do feel motivated to work, even after work. Sometimes that can happen when work really finds interesting things to do. Sometimes it can feel like a tough grind when it's just boring nitty gritty details that you have to work on. Once you know what you're working with here, what are the small tasks the next day, you know what's about to come, and you can set up the system for that day just like that. And then again, there will still be outlier days where making your project will absolutely catch you off guard. You will think your build is going so well, you might have set up components of your project from ground up. Now you just need to connect different pieces and it should start shaping into something. But then you discover a fundamental error, which you now can't go back to and have to think about calling quits on the entire project. That's truly heartbreaking, and that makes your efforts feel like they're going to waste. Now, there's ways to deal with that with backup plans, but we'll get into that later. Let's say you're even building a small business, but right after setting up all the components, you're having to discover that it's a wrong market and it's fairly really hard to find paying customers in your area of interest. That's supposed to feel like a sucker punch in your gut. There's practically, as well as from a mindset perspective, ways to deal with that. But the fundamental thing is that if the purpose of building something meaningful excites you enough, know that your work will bring setbacks because this is not something you're rebuilding what others have already built. This is sort of your life's work when you're determined to build something, and reminding yourself that the purpose of that helps you work much more than trying to push yourself harder when your brain is way too fatigued. So, all of these tips and advice you see don't exactly fall short. You either don't test them well enough to notice that they don't work for you because you fundamentally function differently from how they are, or they might be too comprehensive for you. And you have to follow an entire roadmap just to get to work, which in itself is a burden of its own. The dream goal would be if you could just snap your fingers and get to work. And that's only going to happen once you will find a system that's not rocket science, works a solid amount of times, and once you make a habit out of it. That's when you can stick to it and break free from feeling like you're running your days in hope of paycheck to paycheck. I'm all about building systems and beautiful creations that are meaningful to you, but I'm also about building them in a sustainable manner. Let's build systems like these.